Alright, here we have the Chinese dragons, Oriental dragons of mythology. You have the fire and the ice. It's the battle of fire and ice. The battle of fire and ice always occurs. It occurs 3 times in the zodiac. Everything does. Because you have 3 phases of an element. The mutable cross, the fixed cross, and the cardinal cross. So wherever an age of fire meets an age of water, you have the battle of fire and ice. Aries and Pisces, Sagittarius and Scorpio, and Cancer and Leo, the 3 battles of fire and ice. And the earth has already seen all 3 of them. We are in the age of water moving into the age of air. We are moving from the abyss, water, into heaven, air. And we will be ruled by that principle. In the Greek, the word is pneumatic. We get the word air, breath, spirit. We've been on automatic. Now we're moving into a pneumatic, a new way. Everything propelled by the power of wind, air. As we rise above, you move from the lower chakras and into out of the earthly realms of the root chakra and the water and desires into the etherical realm of thought. That's why his name was Thoth. It's thought. It's simply the way we say things. And the letters mean a lot too. But when you talk about these dragons and the great wisdom behind it, let me show you a picture. Bliss of the ancient Orient, and you have Capricorn. But it's the symbols. It's not about the goat. The same thing is going on with the ram. It has to do with the horns. Call it the shofar or whatever you want to call it. And there are always 2, and they actually represent the helix. It's called helixism. Let's see if we can go there. Yeah, helixism. We don't want the Pokemon, ancient helixism. And again, they'll show you the snail, right? Because it's about the spiral. It's about the double helix, the 2 horns. It's about DNA. And that's the knowledge they act. Lord Helix is here. Praise the helix. Finally resurrected. Again, that's that spiral symbol. So they're taking it, and what do? They flip it. They've made evil good and good evil. The spiral has always been considered a feminine sign. Everything is within. It's fractal. Lord Helix. And you get the word hell in there, right? It's hell X. And X is the symbol of the female. It is reincarnation. It is reproduction. Carnate, to incarnate. That's why we're at the carnal veil. You're veiled in the carnal body. The body is dirt. You're 6 feet under. Mark Twain. His name's not Mark Twain, right? Mark Twain's encoded. Mark Twain is a nautical term. When you're navigating a river, you have to have somebody that marks the depth of the water so that you don't run up on the bank, right? Or you don't run up on a sandbank. And 6 feet is it 6 feet or 12 feet? Let me go there. do it this way. Mark Twain. And that's what the guy would say. It's a saying. You mark Twain, I think it's 12 feet. The second mark on the line, yeah, okay, it's 2 fathoms. So mark 1 would be 1 fathom, and then mark 2, and I do believe that is each 12 feet. And so 1 fathom is 6 feet. Can you fathom that? Words within words, these dual meanings. Mark Twain was born in Nevada. I've been using his quotes a lot. I love Mark Twain. So it's to mark 12 feet. Then you're really dead because your spirit is already 6 feet above you. When you see images of the crown chakra, let's see if we can get the image I'm looking for. It's kind of like this. It's above the head, right? It's above the head. They have one. Oh, I wish I had a copy of it. And it shows you when you do the aura pattern of a person that it's like a pyramid above their head, but it's above you. Consciousness doesn't actually reside within the body. The higher consciousness is above the body, and it's 6 feet above. So you're dead. The second death, you're 6 feet under. Then you're 2 fathoms. Mark Twain. Words, word origins. That's where I found all of my answers. And a lot more questions. And I began to understand about origin and the helix, the double helix, the 2 horns, right? In a lot of Hermetic and alchemical text, you'll see mentions of the horns, the symbolism, and then the serpent, right? They're 2 different things, the horns and the serpent. They don't represent the same thing. And you never see them both in the same sign. You just don't. Because they are different, but they depend on each other just like the yin-yang does. I've discussed this before about the DNA and the body, the flesh. What I'm going to call, you have your mind, right? And you have this higher mind. Well, you also have a lower mind. They call it the reptilian mind, the lower instinct. That belongs specifically to the DNA. That's why you get the flight or fight. It's part of the endocrine system, the glandular system in the body that secretes these fluids that make us act and react. We're all a bunch of actors reacting the script. And a script is a story, and a story is told in language, and language is frequency, and frequency is what affects the endocrine system. You have the third eye, but the crown chakra is above your head. You have the third eye, but the crown chakra is above your head. It's over you. You're already 6 feet under. Now, I've told this before, but I'm going to tell it again. It's always relevant. You always need to keep this in mind. And again, this is my perspective on the Kabbalion Hermetic perspective. When I drowned it in the pool and I sat and watched my body drown, I didn't give a damn about the body. I didn't feel anything it was feeling. I was 6 feet above it. I could care less that it was drowning. I was fascinated with other things. how fast information flowed. I can breathe underwater. I can feel the water, but it's not wet. I had all this going on. But when they pulled the body out of the water and I went back into the body, I had to experience what the body was going through. And it was in shock. The adrenaline was pumping. And I could access the memory of the DNA. I could look at the pictures that it had put that in its mind, that the eyes saw. And it was terrified. It was struggling for its life. It did not want to die. It was going to die. The body is mortal. The only way it resurrects is through procreation. What we're really warring against here is ourselves. It is the higher mind, the real you, overcoming the body. Which one dominates? The DNA, the flesh? There's a time coming where mortality, the flesh, will put on immortality. We're told this. This is the real you. This is the real you. The body is just a shell. But it is alive. And you have to live within it. And that's the double helix. That's helixism. That's what that is. That's what that's about. That's what the dragon is about. That's what the battle of fire and ice is about. That's why you have two horns. It's the double helix. It's not just one snail. It's two fractals, like two eyes, two hands, two arms. Again, the duality. One pulling in and one pushing out. The torus, the push me pull you in Dr. Dolittle. Two opposing forces, yet one. You are two opposing forces, yet one. Which one rules? The Indians tell the tale, the Native Americans, that within you are two wolves, a good wolf and a bad wolf, a vicious wolf and a kind wolf. Which one lives? The one you feed. You have a spirit wolf and a flesh wolf. Which one do you feed? What are you feeding your flesh wolf? What are you feeding your spirit wolf? That's why I'm so against fear porn. It evokes a frequency that sets off your endocrine system. And when you have adrenaline flowing through your body, you feel energized for the moment. But it's like the Skeksis pulling that chi out of you. You're throwing away that energy. It's throwing you into the lower chakra. You're back into the milk instead of the honey. This is where your soul lives. When I came into the body, you come through the right eye and you land in the back left-hand part of the brain. I'm assuming if you come through the left eye, you land in the other side. They're opposite one another. We all have the duality of masculine and feminine. It is the balance of the two. In the outward fleshly world, it comes across as hermaphroditic and on a sexual lower chakra connotation. But in the inner world, it is androgynous, which is neither male nor female. No gender. Not transgender. It's no gender. These principles of duality that the Kabbalion talks about, when that we war not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. So principles. It's like facts. Facts change, people. I'm making a video right now, but when it's through and I click that button, that fact changed. I am no longer making that video. But principalities, principles, we call them laws, like gravity. If you throw it up, it's coming down. Unless you can learn how to use magnetism to make it stay up. So there's a way of breaking that principality. That's the war. The war between the upper chakras and the lower chakras. And it's a war that goes on within us. And you need to define this within yourself. You need to know the difference between the flesh body, the reactive mind, the actor, and then the real you, the real character. This is a very, for lack of a better word, magical, magic eye, magnetic. It sucks things in. You don't project out with your eye. You can, using the evil eye, you project out. It's the window to the soul. We come in through the window, by the way. That's why they call it Windows. Windows operating systems. Why Windows? You should be able to look in everything and see yourself. All DNA is connected. That's the hive mind. When you separate your two selves in near-death experiences, astral plane, out of body, whatever, you need to learn to distinguish between the two and define between the two. And decide which wolf you're going to feed. You can't serve both. This place is temporary. It's a temp-el. A temple is a temporary god. A temp-el. In my opinion, we're here to learn. That's the way we get out. We come in through the window. We go out by going in. In the third eye window. That inner window. Within. If you're not within, you're without. You need to be an insider instead of an outsider. They've made generation after generation outsiders. They did the movie The Outsiders. You need to be an insider. And that's a solo position. One sun. Double helix. The sun and the moon. The two dragons. Fire and ice. And that was the great battle. The age of Leo, the sun, and the age of moon, the water, and the world was flooded. The story of the Valkyries. And the ring, the hobbit, was thrown back into the water until it was found again in the age of Gemini, and Hermetics was resurrected. This thing moves around the world like a snake. I've shown you where it moves. Alchemy is the key. It moves by the colors. Red, yellow, black, and white. We are precious in his sight. The colors of the medicine wheel of the Native Americans. And there's nothing they can do to stop this. They just want to control the narrative because they've scribbled the script. A lot of times when you think you are having, there's a difference between remembering past lives that you actually lived, or you're just channeling the DNA and the lives it remembers. That's the knowledge you come to when you have a near-death experience out of body, and you come to the realization that the double helix flesh you is not you. And those memories are not your memories. I remember, so I know when I start having what appears some would describe as past lives, I know I'm simply accessing the ancestry DNA. And that's why they call it that. You access your ancestors through your DNA. But that's not you. You're above that. They're 12 feet under. They're Mark Twain. The second death, Mark Twain. When if anything over Mark Twain, if it's Mark 1, you've already hit the bank. There's a hole in the hull and we're going to sink. That's why it's Mark Twain, to be on the safe side. You know, we have this maritime, linguistic, phonetic, Phoenician, bibble babble language, the wage we pay to languish. But we're going to come into that pneumatic, a new language, because language is air. We're going to get a new tongue, a more perfect script. It's coming into being now. Again, they're trying to control the narrative. And instantly, when the new language started to appear, the powers that be pushed Ebonics. And they gave you words like, that's sick, man. And it's supposed to mean good. That's sick. No, that's sick. Quite ill indeed. We need a more perfect language, because we're casting the spell upon ourselves. They're not cursing us. We curse us. It's like producing the fear porn videos. You might as well be the preacher behind the pulpit, pulling them to the pit and altering them. Boy, karma's got some shit going down there. And that's what this is really all about. That's why I'm so against it. When you propagate fear porn, when you send those links, you have put a tether. You have connected yourself to that. So whatever the outcome of that is, will project back to you. Again, Kabbalion, cause and effect. And if you can't neutralize that, the third way, the middle path, then you're going to feel the effect of that cause, or the cause of that effect. Action, reaction. And they've got your solution, because you reacted like a good actor. Again, actor, the word actor, the word grammar, and the word lawyer, ironically, all go back to the same Greek word, hypocrite. And then you have the Hippocratic oath, or the hypocritic oath, because they're all hypocrites. Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy, autocracy, technocracy, as in democracy. Look, what the hell is democracy? It's a demo, right? It's just a demonstration. It's a beta program. And it has nothing to do with what this country was supposed to be founded on. It was not founded as a democracy. It was founded as a republic. But it was hijacked. That jack on high, he hijacks you. It was taken over. We need to go back to the old ways, because the republic and the demo crazies, neither one have the answer. They only have a part. And a half-truth is a lie. You must bring them together, like flat earth and round earth. Bring them together. What do you have? A freaking eyeball, the pineal gland, the third eye. It's all within. And only you have the power. They try to take our power, like the Skeksis, robbing the children of their chi. The choice is ours, but we are influenced. We have influenza. We've been influenced. We have flu within. We have a virus. Oh, there's a good word, virus. It's got the 6 in it, right? The VI, like the Vikings, the 6 kings, the VI kings. The 6 kings, and then the real crown chakra. You have 6 lower kings and the 1 true king. The crown chakra. You are your own crown. You just don't know how to wear it, or invoke it, or live it. And I'm going to tell you, it's not the world you think. There's a price to pay for this type of knowledge. You become ostracized. It's already happening to many of you. We've all been initiated. Those of you who are moving through the adept stage into the master stage, which another great initiation is coming up, and a lot of us are going to move up the ranks. Most will stay novices, and some will just completely fall out of the school altogether. It's a mystery school. It's a mystery school. You are supposed to be learning, growing, transmuting. And you must practice at it. You must do your homework, your inner work. You must learn the difference between the duality, the flesh and the spirit, and then how to stand in the middle of that. Learn how to make the spirit wolf rule over the flesh wolf. Put him in check. You know, this has come to my mind several times. My older sister was actually more evil than my mother. This was one evil woman. They were a lot alike, but to where my mother would hurt you with words. She was a fire-breathing dragon. She loved to hurt people with her words. My sister was physical violent, very physical violent, murderous from a very young age. And when we were in about the 6th grade, she walked around one day with a magic marker when Sharpies first came out, and she was putting checks on everybody. She would check, and if she didn't like you, she checked you. And she checked me. Of course, I knew she didn't like me, but it pissed me off. She put a check on me. She marked me. That has come into my mind several times. And almost every time lately I hear the word check or check out, I would remember back then and her checking everybody with that. Her mark, her evil mark. Check. Yeah, well, I got a checkmate. You might check me, but I got a checkmate for you. I'm good at chess. I understand strategy. It's a locked system. Chess is easy to figure out. A lot of people talk about 3-dimensional chess or 4-dimensional chess or whatever. I've played what you call a Enochian chess. It's played with 5 boards. You take the one board and you lay 4 boards around it, and either 2, 3, or 4 people can play. Actually, 2 or 4. You can either play 2 sides. We played with 3, where whoever takes the first one out gets the second board, gets the leftover board. And really, that's what's going on here is Enochian chess. There are 4 sides. Red, yellow, black, white. And they're all fighting for the center board, or Middle Earth. They're fighting for the middle. Pineal gland, third eye, and the crown chakra. You must do your own homework. You must understand the symbolism. You must test the spirits to see if they be of God. If they evoke fear, wrong God. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to know. You're just going to know. If they're trying to control you, wrong God. Manipulate you, wrong God. You're just going to know. You already know. You're just going to get a confirmation. Because you already know. Just like your ancestors and all that memory is still in your DNA. And that's why they poison us, really. Because they don't want us accessing that memory. And then they tell you if you do access it, oh, those are your past lives. I'm not so sure. I don't have past lives in a carnal body. I see a lot of, but our DNA does. It has past memories. When I came into this body, I was aware it had memories that I was able to access that were not my own. I think that has a lot to do with schizophrenia and personality too. It's these ancient memories recycling themselves. But to me, the Bible says it's appointed unto man once to die, and then the judgment. And maybe that happens again, and again, and again, and again. But I clearly see the way out of that cycle. And it's to go within. When you go like the conch shell or the snail, you must go into the center, to the beginning, to the source, to the origin. And that's oriental. You go for orientation when you are a novice. We're going deeper within. Know thyself. Self. That's S symbol. That knowledge of the elf. The knowledge of the elf. And again, dark crystal. The Skeksis are taken from the elfin. The self-in. The self-in. The inward self. We all need to pull the sword from the stone and become our own King Arthur, author, write our own story, our own golden ticket. That's why you need to keep a journal. You not only need to keep a journal of the day's events, you need to start projecting, to manifest, to project. You need to write your goals, your dreams, bring them out of the etheric into the physical world. Paint a picture, write a poem, keep a dream book, and not of your night dreams, but your daydreams. As a matter of fact, you should keep one book. And if you have a dream, you get up in the morning and you write that dream on the left page. And then on the right page, you write the dream you want to happen that day or in the future. And then watch your Neptune-Saturn conjunctions and your trines and squares, and then into your Neptune-Jupiter trines and squares for them to manifest. This is the way this is done. This is a magical place. But, and to me, the Bible is the manual. It's the manual. But the scribes scribble the scriptures. That's why in the Old Testament, the Messiah is called Emmanuel. He's the fifth manual, the fifth book, the fifth age, the fifth dimension. He's 5, he's V, he's E, the fifth book, Epsilon, the Emmanuel. You know, I like manuals. I grew up working on cars with my dad. That was his hobby, race cars. And all into the manuals. So I've always read manuals. I had a friend of mine, she was an English teacher. She really prided herself on her knowledge and how smart she was. To her, everybody around her was dumbasses, and she was the shit on a stick. And she knew I worked on computers. She invited me over one day when the refillable ink cartridges for your printers came out. And she had just bought a new, I'm going to do it myself, ink cartridge. And she said, "What do you think, Levette?" And I said, "Well, read the instructions. Read the manual. It's really small." I said, "I've never actually done one, so I would read the manual." And then she looked at it, and it had a big circle on top with a dot in it. So she takes her little ink syringe, stabs the circle, and fills it up with ink. Well, there you go. That was simple. I didn't need to read anything. I can figure it out. And then she stuck it in her printer and made it print. And she had her printer sitting on her table, her dining room, beautiful dining room table, with a really old, expensive, antique lace tablecloth on it. And that printer began to spit ink everywhere. It ruined the printer, it ruined the table, it ruined everything. And then I picked up the little instruction booklet that was 2 pages, and I opened it up. And in big letters it said, "Do not puncture inside circle." She could have stuck it anywhere but there. But she knew. No, we must read the manuals. And I know they can be boring, especially when they've been scribbled as bad as the Bible has. But if you learn alchemy and hermetics, when you look back at the Bible and read it again, when you watch the old movies, you are going to freak out. I like Katharine Hepburn. I watched a movie the other day with one of her first. She was very young. She was playing the part of an actress in a play, but she was the stand-in, right? If the show must go on, if the lead character couldn't perform her duties, she was the one that came in. And she waited and waited and waited, and her turn never came up until the woman died. The lead actor died. So the actress is dead, everybody's mourning, and now she's got to step into this position, right, and do the part. So she pulls it off, but she says something very cryptic. She's very disturbed about it, and she said, "Does somebody really have to die for somebody else to become a star?" And the guy told her yes. And that is so prevalent today in what we see in Hollywood and the way their game is played. The only way you play the game today in politics or in any type of celebrity or CEO is compromise. It's the black male. He's the ruling god here because he's got everybody compromised. Makes big promises. It comes with a promise, but nonetheless, you're compromised. And whoa, you failed, right? There's that loyalty test right out the window. The only thing you're allowed to sacrifice is yourself. Those in the spirit do not serve the God that demands sacrifice. The God of heaven doesn't want your sacrifice. As a matter of fact, the manual says it's an abomination. I have to do this. Let's just do this. Your sacrifices, your festivals, they're all an abomination unto me. Isaiah, bring your worthless offerings no more. Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. New moons, Sabbaths, and convocations. I cannot bear your worthless assemblies. They're an abomination. What does he want? He doesn't want, let's get the whole thing. I do not want, let's go here. You know which God is speaking, whether or not they demand sacrifices and what kind of sacrifice. The vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos. We have a book of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled, Uranus, against me. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel doth not know. My people doth not consider. A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel into anger. They have gone away backwards. Why should you be stricken any more? Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even to the head there is no soundness in it, but wounds, bruises, and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence, and its desolate is overthrown by strangers. And the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in a vineyard, as a lodge in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city. Except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been likened unto Gomorrah. Hear the word of the Lord, ye rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our God, ye people of Gomorrah. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith the Lord? I am full of burnt offerings of ram, and the fat of the fed beast, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks, or of lambs, or of goats. When ye come to appear before me, who hath required this of your hand to tread my courts? It's not his law. Who required this of you? You're coming into God's court with Molech's sacrifices. What is this saying? You're teaching Molech's traditions in the church. Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts my soul hateth. They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. And when ye spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. And yea, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. That blood oath. Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do well. Seek judgment. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless and plead for the widow. And you know, in the Jesuit oath, they're told to abuse the fatherless and to completely destroy the widow. They go in, tell her how she's going to hell if she don't leave everything to them. They will not help you. They will not help you. They're only there to harm you. It's in their oath. Come now, let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they can be white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat of the good of the land. But if ye refuse, rebel, ye shall be devoured with the sword, are the words, for the mouth of the Lord have spoken it. And you know what? He doesn't want your sacrifices. Do you know what he wants? He wants your love. That's it. He wants your respect. He wants some time. And the only way you can do that is to go within. You don't pray in the streets. You don't pray at all. You meditate or you contemplate. But do not pray. That's a bad spell that's been cast on us all. And don't beg. Jesus said, you have not because you ask not. Let's see if I can get that right. Yep. And the Passover feast of the Jews was nigh, and Jesus lifted up his eyes and saw a great company coming in him, and he said unto Philip, Whence shall we buy bread that these may eat? Yeah, I'm in the right one. Hold on. I might need to be in 5. Bread of life, the bread of life. Let me come at it another way. You have not because you ask not. This is James, but it's also in the Gospel of John. Nope. We'll go to the James. You lust and do not have. You murder and covet and cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet you do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask amiss, that you may spend it on your pleasures. Whoa, is there a big teaching here? You're not going to get it if it's not for your good. I call this, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Here's what I found in manifesting that I learned. I was 18 years old, and some people were teaching me metaphysics, right? I think they were Scientologists or somewhere in that area. But they were teaching me metaphysics, and they knew very well that I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It's almost impossible to manifest for yourself. Because one, you don't know what to ask for. You don't know what you want. And then you can't stay focused. There's always that seed, I call it a seed of doubt or disbelief, asking amiss as well. You're asking for the wrong thing. But when you get others to ask for you, then it manifests for you. I can manifest for you, not myself. You manifest for me. That's why where two or more are gathered, there am I in the midst. And it's not pray. And it's not begging. It's not pleading. Your Father know what you have need of before you ask. And then how do we pray? Our Father who art in heaven. Our Father in the air sign of Aquarius. Not in earth, not in fire, not in water. Heaven, air, pneumatic. Same word in the Greek. Let's do can I get that? Is it going to give me? Yeah, in the beginning was the Word. That word there is logo, symbol. And the symbol was with God, and the symbol was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through the symbol, and without the symbol, nothing was made that was made. And in the symbol was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. It's the pineal gland. We are in the mind of God. I've always known that. When you look up into the heavens and the starry night, you are looking at us. We are those little lights. I did the video, Letter to Joan, page 1. I show you, in the beginning, we're like in this blue plasma field, and we're all these little lights. And there's all these little electrical strings that are connecting all of these lights. We're all connected to each other, and we're projected down here. This is a stage. We are projecting. We are the reflection. To neutralize or understand, to comprehend this darkness, to comprehend it, we must have an inner reflection. We must reflect within. We are that light. As above, so below. We've been cast down. We all have a star. We all have a star. Aster means star. Dis means without. So to have a disaster is to be without your star. There are 4 guiding lights. Antares in Scorpio, Regulus in Leo, Aldebaran in Taurus, and Fomalhaut. Thalem, the Lamb in Aquarius, is our guiding light. We have a star. No need for disaster. So to avoid the disaster, find your star. We all have a rising star. Mine is Fomalhaut. On the day I was born, at the very minute, Fomalhaut was sitting on the horizon. We all have a rising sign, a rising star, a birth sign, a sun sign, a moon sign, and a Saturn sign. But you need to know thyself, know thy star, know your chart. Learn it, learn the alchemy behind it, learn the hermetics behind it. Know yourself, self-empowerment, going within, asking, not begging, asking. know the symbol. The symbol is the pineal gland. That's why they use it. That's why they take the eye of providence and make it the evil eye. They simply reflect it. They remirror it. They make it sick, man.